Does the enterprise apply the institution of posting workers?
The employer uses the institution of posting workers.
Was this institution used by the employer during the pandemic period?
During the pandemic period, the institution of posting was not used as part of the management of the staff of employees, as there was no need for it. At that time, the employer entered into an agreement with the social side regarding changes in the settlement of working time and used public support available under the so-called anti-crisis shields, i.e., laws adopted by the government forming the basis for the aforementioned support. The employer also temporarily directed employees to other workplaces, but in the form of classic delegation and not posting of employees. In this way, work was organized in a situation of employee turnover resulting from the COVID-19 illnesses. However, the workplace was not affected by the negative consequences of the pandemic in economic terms. Production quickly accelerated.
How, then, is the institution of posting workers used by the employer?
The institution of delegation of workers is used with regard to third country employees who are directed to Poland. People from foreign branches of the company are directed to Polish companies for specialized managerial and executive positions. According to information, their terms and conditions of employment are often more favorable than in their principal place of work and better than those of domestic employees in similar positions. In place of employment contracts, the work of delegated employees is based on contract, therefore they have the opportunity to negotiate individual good working conditions. It is pointed out that the posting of these workers to Poland is perceived within the group as a reward because of the working conditions and facilities associated with it and the opportunity for development. It is also recognized as an opportunity to acquire the know-how of the companies to which the delegated employees are sent, both in the area of employment. After all, it is no secret that individual companies, despite belonging to the same capital group, compete with each other for orders and are vulnerable to relocation of production, which poses a risk to job retention. Employees of the plants to which employees are posted have a negative perception of these workers due to their preferential treatment by the employer, and the risk of losing, crucial for the competitive advantage of the workplace know-how. Posted employees, due to the form of work under contract, are not covered by the provisions of the collective bargaining agreement in force at the company. The above affects the level of social dialogue at the company, as it breaks down the unity of the workforce.
Is worker delegation used at the company?
Generally, no. Posting of workers was used, for example, during the period of economic difficulties of the enterprise. The employer offered the employees a posting to another plant as an alternative to layoffs. The employees were posted to a similar workplace, analogous production profile, although it was pointed out that there were more harmful conditions but also more automation. Conditions from the area of occupational health and safety were provided to the employees, and the level of pay was in accordance with regulations. The workers were accommodated in a hostel, and they assessed the living conditions as average. Workers were bothered by staying away from home and the lack of a kitchen, which increased their living costs. They had to buy takeout meals. Workers performed their tasks in 12-hour shifts, which affected their fatigue in the long term. The infrequent opportunity in practice to visit relatives was noted, which influenced the generally negative assessment of the experience. The person interviewed had worked in this form for about 8 months. The greatest discomfort, however, was felt by employees due to the very choice of posting to another workplace. This was because the alternative was dismissal, with the receipt of a cash severance package. Indeed, Most of the employees who chose to be laid off and collect severance pay were soon reemployed by the same employer due to the acquisition of new orders. They worked under the same or better conditions. The differentiation of the situation of employees posted and those who were fired and then rehired negatively affected the assessment of posting as unfair. A person who worked in the form of a posting returns to the home workplace after a period of 8 months